So Grimoire Zero Episode 6 has arrived, and overall I would say I enjoyed this episode. The first 8 minutes of this episode I honestly thought were horrible, and it was roll your eyes worthy, especially with the fact that I hit the nail on the head last week and I said, this little battle is probably gonna end in a very stupid way, very like they're gonna crack a joke or something. And they literally do. They literally end the battle because they hear the dinner bell. That's the stupidest thing that you could have done. Like, even though I was predicting that something like this would happen, I was still shocked that they just had the nerve to try to make a joke and make it seem funny when it was one of the dumbest things the show has done. Luckily, the remainder of the episode actually was interesting and engaging, especially with the fact of 13 himself and him explaining the different concept of the different groups of mages. We learned that there are 3 separate types, the first of which is the people who are on like Albus's side, who pretty much they want to just coexist peacefully with normal humans. There's the other side of the mages who want to just burn the world down and have magic rule over everyone. And then there are the pretty much state sorcerers, who are the people like 13 who work for the state and fight both sides and pretty much say magic needs to be very controlled, we can't trust people with magic. Which in all honesty, his side is correct, because we don't have magic in our own world, so we can't actually say how this would work. However, if you look at any stories that have actually had magic, more times than not, magic leads to a lot of bad stuff. Magic is a lot different than a sword, because yes, anyone could pick up a sword and stab someone. However, if you actually had magic, if you don't know how to control your magic, you could accidentally set a house on fire. You could accidentally blow someone's head up by just thinking the wrong way. But even if you know how to control it, you are more dangerous than that of a skilled knight with a sword, and that is something that has to be heavily regulated or just right out banned, because if just random Joes on the street had magic and could set someone aflame just because they don't like them, they would never be caught, which is a lot different than a guy stabbing someone and you'd be able to trace that. So I completely understand the whole, like, the state side of the sorcerers who come and just pretty much say, like, fuck all of you guys, you need to just stop using magic, because it totally makes sense. But what I like about the entire conversation is how they bring up the concept, or just the idea that this whole group is just one big clusterfuck, pretty much. As Albus gets the realization that his friends aren't really his friends. Well, they kind of are in a way, but like Mercenary and Zero, they never really agreed that they were his friends. Like when they first met, he was just like, oh, so you're on my side, right? Like you're my ally. And Zero herself never actually said that. She just said, yes, I am the one who wrote the Grimoire of Zero. And he pretty much cries and is just ready to get burned alive. You know he's not going to get burned alive. You know the fact that he's going to be their friend, their ally. Again, they're all going to make up and have a grand old time. But it was nice seeing just them shatter Albus. I never liked Albus as a character. I just thought he was kind of an annoying character. But I did appreciate, like, even though I don't like him, it's like, damn, this guy just had his world shattered. Like, everything about him is just, he's willing to die at this point. So I liked how they handled him in particular, but also how they handled Mercenary himself, and how he's always had these doubts about Zero, and for good reason. You can't trust a witch, you can't trust anyone with magic pretty much, especially a Beast Fallen whose entire life is because of these horrible people. But Zero and him made a contract that she promised that she would never hurt him, and she will remove his curse. But because of that, because he has that doubt, 13 is able to manipulate that, as that's his specialty. Like, when you walk into the room, you see all this, like, mist and this smoke, so you knew he was probably trying some hallucinogen or something like that. And eventually, like, it's so good how he does it, because he kind of feels like an anti-hero, to be 100% honest. I don't think 13's a villain. I feel like he's an anti-hero. Obviously, he wants Zero for himself, like, that's his main goal in that case. But, like, the side he fights for, he just feels like an anti-hero, and I quite like that they're approaching him in that direction. But how he's talking to Mercenary and how he's bringing up, like, you've obviously seen the looks in her eyes, like, she's literally just using you. She sees you as this weird specimen. Like, you literally sacrifice yourself to save her. Like, she sees that. Like, that's the entire reason that she keeps you around, and eventually she's gonna cut off your head. And he uses that to use, like, the little magic, the mist that's in the room, to manipulate him and brainwash him into leaving and taking this vial that supposedly could cure his Beast Fallen disease, which it probably would. I don't expect it was poison or anything like that. Like, I honestly think he did give him a cure, but he brainwashed him so he could have Zero all to himself. And I like how he did it, because obviously the guy's not the greatest guy out there. Like, he's literally trying to manipulate and brainwash Mercenary to get the hell out of there so he can have his girl back, pretty much. But he's also kind of that anti-hero, so I appreciate how they're approaching him as a character. And then, of course, the final moments of the episode I thought were really well done. The fact that Zero herself snaps him out of it, and then she actually actually dismisses him and breaks off their contract because the only way that he would have been able to manipulate Mercenary is if he had doubts about her, and she promised that she didn't, so that kind of crushes her. So I really just appreciate how it just kind of comes full circle. You started with Albus realizing that his allies are not his allies, then you come to Mercenary questioning if truly Zero is his companion, if she truly cares for him, to then Zero herself just dismissing and getting just kind of heartbroken. I think it was an overall good episode, and I think it was an improvement of last week, which I thought last week was the best episode because I felt like it was getting a sense of direction, it was going somewhere, like learning about the Grimoire Zero. This episode just progresses it even more, the fact that she made the Grimoire and just completely realizes that she made a mistake, she should have destroyed it like 13 said, and how the entire plan is now coming full circle, and them growing and bonding together makes more sense. And I think if they continue on this path throughout episodes 7 through 12, this will be an overall good series. So far, I still don't think this is a really solid or amazing series. However, last week and this week's episode definitely is setting it on the proper path that I think it needs to head on. And if they continue on this path, I think it will be a really solid series by the end. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, because I thought this was an overall great episode. However, the intro content for the first 8 minutes I thought was atrocious, but the remainder of the content more or less makes up for it. But that stuff was cringeworthy at the very beginning. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Before you leave, smack that like button to share your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.